How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and the MacTusk is probably one of the most tricky mobs you'll encounter in the early game while playing Don't Starve together, and today I'll be giving you my 5 favorite strategies for successfully harvesting him for those sweet drops. In this video guide, I'll list the strategy and then give its pros and cons. Then I'll explain how to execute the strategy in practice. So let's get started. The Ice Staff strategy. The Ice Staff strategy is my personal favorite and the one I default to whenever possible. The pros are, you can execute it very quickly in a short period of time. The proximity effect is small, and what I mean by this is that you do not have to stray very far from MacTusk's natural habitat to kill him. The execution of the strategy is easily viable at any time of day. The cons are, it has a higher cost to entry due to needing to craft an Ice Staff, and the execution requires some combat skill. How to execute the Ice Staff strategy. Equip yourself for winter weather in combat. To fight at night here will require a thermal stone and a miner hat. Bring one Ice Staff with you. For the first winter season, you can find blue gems by digging up graves. If you intend on attacking during the daytime, walk near the MacTusk camp until you notice MacTusk is walking towards you. Stop before he aggroes on you, and click on him twice with the Ice Staff equipped to freeze him. Now take out both hounds, being careful not to get frozen, and then take out MacTusk himself. If attacking during the evening or at night, I'd recommend an extra lantern placed opposite you if attacking at night. Otherwise, approach the MacTusk camp, stay as far away from the hounds as possible, but still aggro them. When MacTusk exits the camp, you'll want to quickly click on him twice with the Ice Staff equipped to freeze him, then switch over to your weapon and take out both hounds, being careful not to get frozen. Then take out MacTusk. From my experience, attacking during the evening or at night takes more skill, but it is still quite viable. Melee, or melee plus Chester. The melee strat is my second favorite after the Ice Staff, especially if I have Chester. It's very cheap to use, but it's more likely something could go wrong, and it requires a fair bit of know-how. Pros. This is an easy strategy to set up, as it really doesn't require anything special beyond the basic combat gear. If you have a Chester, then you'll need Chester as well. Cons. The viability of the strategy is somewhat limited based on the time of day. The viability of the strategy is somewhat limited based on the proximity of MacTusk to other potentially dangerous map features, as you'll be chasing MacTusk a fair distance. This strategy takes more time than other strategies, especially the Ice Staff strategy, as you'll be chasing MacTusk. The execution of the melee strategy requires more combat skill. How to execute the melee strategy. Equip yourself for winter weather and combat. Fighting at night, once again, will require a thermal stone and a miner hat. If you have Chester, bring him along to help draw aggro. Daytime attack strategy. This is much easier. If you have Chester, just walk close to the MacTusk camp until you notice him moving towards you. Take a few steps away and he'll aggro on Chester. Take out both his hounds without getting frozen, and then chase MacTusk in a direction away from his igloo. If you don't have Chester, you'll need to start chasing MacTusk once he's within range. You'll probably take some damage here depending upon how fast you are. Having a walking cane or being a fast character like Wolfgang will make it less likely you'll fall far enough behind for MacTusk to shoot at you while you are giving chase. The objective here is to chase him so far away from his camp that he'll stop attacking and start walking back. Attack him when he's walking back, but be careful not to do it near the ocean, as his drops could fall in and be lost. If you plan on attacking in the evening or at night, MacTusk will be inside the camp, so you'll not easily be able to use Chester. Move close to the camp until the hounds notice you and MacTusk exits. You should be able to kill one hound in the process, and with luck you'll freeze MacTusk when the one ice hound dies, but this is uncommon. More likely you'll be chasing him down based on the scenario described in the daytime attack strategy for melee. Melee is most limited based on MacTusk proximity to other map features. Having troublesome mobs in the area, like spiders or pigs, can make this more difficult or easy depending upon how those mobs interact with you and MacTusk. Be especially careful if using this tactic during the daytime in an area with multiple MacTusks, as you could find yourself under attack by multiple hunting parties. The Tooth Trap strategy. Tooth traps are highly recommended for characters who are bad at combat or less experienced players. The cost of entry is higher, but you should have enough hound's teeth by the first winter if you clear out the hound mounds in the desert. Pros: the execution of this strategy is quite fast once deployed. It requires no combat skill. Cons: the viability of execution here is limited to daylight hours, and the cost to entry is higher due to crafting costs of the tooth traps. How to execute the tooth trap strategy: equip yourself for winter and build 5 to 7 tooth traps. During the evening or at night, approach the MacTusk camp, but keep your distance. In a straight line from the camp, place all of your tooth traps down and wait for the morning. When MacTusk exits the camp in the morning, he'll move towards you without attacking you. You'll need to move in relation to him to get him to walk over the tooth traps. This is relatively easy as he moves in a straight line towards you. Tooth traps are the easiest way to take out MacTusk if you aren't very good at fighting, but I'd still recommend you bring armor to deal with the hounds in case the tooth traps don't kill them. The dart strategy. Darts are an alternative to the ice staff, but more costly and less effective in my experience. If you have darts laying around, I'd use them for this, but otherwise I'd use the ice staff strat instead. Pros: the execution of the darts strategy is relatively fast compared to alternatives. The execution of the dart strategy requires low melee combat skill. In practice, this strategy is viable at any time of day, although once again it gets harder during the evening or at night. Cons: the cost entry is higher, obviously due to the crafting cost of darts. How to execute the dart strategy: equip yourself for winter and combat, but bring 3 to 4 regular darts with you. I suggest 4 in case you miss, but it can be done with 3 when you are playing a character with a normal damage modifier. In single player, you can do it with 2 darts. For a daytime attack, move towards the MacTusk camp until you notice him moving towards you. Stop and then wait for him to stop. Now click on him 3 times with the blow darts equipped to attack. You should be able to get 3 shots off before the hounds can damage you. Now switch to your melee weapon and take out the hounds. For an evening or night attack, this is harder as it's more likely the hounds will attack while you are trying to target MacTusk, but it can still be done. Approach the MacTusk camp, keeping your distance from the hounds, but moving in until you are noticed and MacTusk exits. Target him again by clicking on him with your darts equipped. Make sure to click instead of force attacking, as you will probably shoot at something else if you force attack. Once MacTusk is dead, take out the hounds. The last strategy here, I'm going to be calling a mob distraction. Mob distraction is very broad and can be anything really from pangolls to pigs or spiders. This strategy is mostly an enhanced version of the melee strategy and overall the least predictable. Pros: low to medium cost to entry. Cons: requires combat skill. The execution viability of the strategy is limited to the activity pattern of the mobs you intend to use. The execution also takes time and is highly dependent on map features. How to put the mob distraction strategy into use. This strategy involves many variables, so I can only give you general advice. You'll want to equip yourself for winter and combat, and the time of day you intend the fight to take place. A thermalstone and miner hat are recommended here if fighting during the night. For daytime fighting, move towards the MacTusk camp until he notices you and moves towards you. Keep another mob between yourself and MacTusk. When he gets too close to that mob, he'll attack them instead of you. Now is your chance to chase him down while he and his hounds are distracted. For evening or night fighting, after MacTusk exits his camp, try to chase him in the general direction of a mob hostile to MacTusk. A good example here would be spiders. Once they start attacking him, you should be able to get a few hits off on him yourself, but once again, this is a pretty chancy tactic, and there are so many variables at play here it's difficult to give specific advice. So that's my list of the top 5 strategies to harvest the MacTusk camps in Don't Starve Together. Let me know your favorites in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching as always, and I hope to see you next time.